Hey guys, how's it going? I hope everyone is doing well whenever you see this. So we're going to talk about the upcoming astrology. So this is going to be astrology notes, a little bit of detailed astrology notes for the time period of March 19th through April 19th. All right. So I did put a link in the description box below to this website. It's not my website, but it's a great free website that gives you the astrology for the whole year, actually, for 2022. And it gives you the exact times that some of these things are going on. I think it's based on East Coast time, but I'm not sure. You have to check the website. So I don't usually talk about the times because, again, I don't know where everyone is in the world when they're watching, but I just try to talk about the general astrology through some of these transits. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And let me just turn this down a little bit, make sure you can hear me okay. So since we're talking about the time frame from March 19th through about April 19th, the first thing that we have going on is on March 20th, we are in the official Aries season. So the sun enters into Aries. So happy birthday, right, to all the Aries out there ahead of time. So just wanted to mention that. And then on March 25th, we have a last quarter moon. And then on March 27th, Mercury is going to be entering into Aries. Okay, so fire sign Aries. So Mercury, just as a brief kind of thing, is about our communications, electronics, just to name a few. Okay, so it's going to be, when it enters into Aries, can be more around maybe creativity themes, leadership roles, right? But also it can have something to do with the shadow side of Aries when we're not talking about creativity and passion and being a go-getter, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, right? They like to really get a head start and do things, and being entrepreneurs and all these other things where like they have that energy for whatever they do, right? We're just not just talking about sun sign Aries or rising Aries or moon Aries. We're talking about Aries energy that we all have somewhere in our chart, but just as kind of like a generality, right? They do have that quality to want to be very passionate and get started and do things even on their own, right? So that's the good, positive side of the Aries energy. And then more on the shadowy side, right? Side of Aries, it would be about anger and frustrations, okay? Or even fighting, since Mars is the ruler of Aries, and Aries is, the Greek god of war. Okay, so when Mercury, that's how we communicate, right, is going to be entering into Aries, there could be more of that heated side of communication, to be more quick to anger or frustration, if that's where that particular person is at, or the astrology might be adding to it, right? But it could also be on the more positive side of all those things I just mentioned. Okay, so it's just a little note there, all right? And then on March 28th, the following day, Neptune is going to be sextiling the true node, or north node as it's known. Okay, so right now the north node is in Taurus. So your north node, if you have already done your birth chart, or even if you're not sure exactly, it is kind of like your life's path, or like your career path even, okay? So, the North Node goes through all the different zodiac signs at different times, okay? But right now it is in Taurus, all right? So basically, when we think of Neptunian energy, it's one of the rulers of Pisces, right? Right now we have, as I'm filming this, 3 planets in Pisces, so a lot of Neptune energy is kind of going on right now. And so that deals with like dream-like state, creativity, but also illusions, not seeing things clearly all the way, right? So when it kind of sextiles the true node, or also known as the north node in Taurus, Taurus would be, second house, north node in Taurus would be the second house, which brings up stuff like our financial worth, how we relax, but also when we think of Taurus energy, like taking enjoyment and pleasures in life. So all those things paired with the Neptunian energy of illusions, dreamlike quality, and creativity. So it could be like when we talk about what is our financial worth, how do we relax, how do we take pleasure in life, doing both of those things of like, let's say, the 3D and the 5D, and bringing it in with that Neptunian energy, it could be not all the way clear, okay? Or it could just be that there's more creativity around those things. Again, of course, this is general, so it depends on each individual person, all right? But I always encourage everyone to look up their north node and their south node, right? So your south node is more about your karmic lessons that you've learned in this time, but also possibly in previous lifetimes. And then your north node is like your career center, life path, like what you're supposed to be kind of focusing on, or one thing you're supposed to be really drawn to or focused on, okay? So like I tell people in all my other videos that if you don't already know your placements, or you haven't ever done your birth chart, you can get a pretty basic one online, you know, just with where you were born and you know, your birthday, okay? If you know your birth time, which not everybody does, then you can possibly get more information about, like, as an example, where your north and south node. I don't think you can get it without your exact birth time, but I'm not all the way sure on that, okay? But it's always good to know, you know, more about your own birth chart if that's something you're interested in. But anyway, going back to where we were at, so we talked about March 28th, Neptune sextiles true node or north node in Taurus. And then on April 1st, we have, which is right, All Fool's Day, we have the new moon in Aries, since we're in Aries season, right? So some people like to do certain types of magic around the new moon or the crescent moon, because that's when it's the smallest, right? It looks like a C kind of. And so then whatever you're doing, your manifestations and your magic at that time, it can grow towards the full moon. But I come from kind of the place where, like, do your magic whenever, because intention is the most important. But since we're talking about astrology and what all the planets and asteroids are doing, of course, we're going to also talk about the moon. All right, now going forward on April 5th, Venus is going to be entering into water sign Pisces. So Venus, what your Venus is all about, right, is about love, of course, but also higher assets of money and wealth, okay? So for instance, everyone has their Venus in a different zodiac sign. That's also your love language for some. So again, I think that one you can get in a basic birth chart, even if you don't have your birth time. I'm pretty sure you can still find out what your Venus is in. Okay, so anyway, going back to like what we're talking about though, with Venus entering into Pisces, again, Neptunian energy, so there can be more creativity around this time, around love and money and assets kind of themes, but also definitely the shadow side of Neptune, which would be illusions and not seeing things all the way clearly, but it is really creative and dreamlike and poetry and all of that stuff too, okay? And now also on the same day, we have two things happening on April 5th. So the first was Venus enters Pisces, and the second is Jupiter is sextiling Saturn, okay? So Jupiter is all about expansion, okay? It's about schools and institutions, religion, politics, just to name a few off the top of my head, okay? So Saturn is all about responsibilities and getting serious about things. So when Jupiter is semi-sextiling Saturn, it could be that those kind of themes come up to being the travel too, right? I forgot Jupiter rules travel, and it rules religion, politics, everything that Jupiter touches kind of is like the planet of expansion, right? So if we're talking about travel, politics, religion, that kind of stuff, schools and institutions, when it goes into that kind of getting closer to the Saturn energy, could have more responsibilities around that, or getting serious around some of those topics there. All right, and then going forward on April 8th, we have Jupiter is going to be sextiling the true node, or also known as north node, in Taurus again. So Taurus kind of themes can be beauty for sure, just like Libra. Taurus is about, it's an earth sign, right? So it's about being stable. It's about the pleasures of life that we talked about earlier, about your financial worth, and also how you relax. Okay, what your downtime is. So again, talking about the 3D and the 5D coming together with that true node or north node in Taurus around Jupiter themes. Okay, so again, travel, politics, religion, school, and institutions. But again, like whatever Jupiter is close to or it's ruling, Jupiter rules Pisces and Sagittarius, right? But it's going to expand whatever it's working through at that time or close to at that time. So again, those themes could be heightened more in that April 8th time. So some people, again, just like any astrology, could feel it a couple of days before, weeks before, weeks after, days after, okay? Or you don't feel it at all, but it's cool just to know about it, just in case. Sometimes it does help explain people's actions. Everyone's responsible for their own actions, of course, but it sometimes gives a little bit more insight to maybe why things were more intense on this day, or these certain themes seem to be highlighted at this time. So anyway, where were we? So yes, April 8th, and then on April 9th, we have a first quarter moon. And then on April 10th, Mercury enters into Taurus. So again, Mercury is how we communicate, electronics, to name a few, lots of different things. I think I have my whole long list somewhere in here. I'm like, I feel like I need to mention it. Hold on, let me see if I can find it really quickly. Where's Mercury? Mercury. I could also look it up on my phone, but I don't really want to. I'll just see if I can find it in here somewhere, hopefully. If I didn't, sometimes I used to throw away these notes and then I started to save them. So I don't know. Well, I just found something about Taurus that was interesting. So not what I was looking for, but Taurus, right? We said financial, so it says money, security, stability. I said because it's an earth sign, getting stable, right? Our bodies, where and what we value. So it's a financial value, but could also be other types of values. Where is Mercury? Of course, when I'm looking for it, I can't find it. Maybe, come on now, it has to be somewhere here. One second. Mercury, where are you at? No. Okay, maybe I didn't save it. Well, damn. Okay. Well, let me look it up on my phone real quick because I don't know. I feel like I want me to mention everything that Mercury stands for. What does Mercury mean in astrology? Okay. So Mercury is a planet of communication, intellect, memory, and transportation. Okay. So yeah, so definitely memory makes sense, okay? Electronics would be some electronics would be transportation. And intellect would go along with communication, I feel like, and memory. I felt like there was a longer list, but anyway. Says Mercury. Okay, that's what we already said. Okay, here we go. Some breakdown of like communication stuff, but it just says speaking, writing, books, online learning, all are within Mercury's domain. Okay, so yeah, it rules both Gemini and Virgo, yes, and the 3rd and the 6th houses. Okay. Anyway, that's not exactly what I was looking for, but if I, when I get off of here, find it online, I'll try to put it in the description box below, but it's not a huge deal. I don't know why I went off on a tangent there, because I wanted to talk about all the things that Mercury kind of represent, like when it's going into Taurus, some of the things that it could tie in with that Taurus energy. But we'll just keep it at communication, electronics, memory, intellect, and I think that's everything. Yeah. Okay. So when all those things coming together get into the Taurus earth sign energy, it can bring up themes of, what did I say earlier? Stability, right? Since Taurus is the earth sign, beauty, how we relax, how we find pleasure in life, right? So the 5D, paying the bills, financial worth, and other ways, what we value and who we value, I think is what I was reading there earlier in my notes. And then, putting all that together with the Mercury things I just mentioned. Okay, I'm like having a Mercury retrograde moment when I'm talking about Mercury. So moving forward, anyway, I need more coffee, I guess, or it needs to kick in faster. All right, then on April 11th, Saturn is going to be squaring true node, or also north node in Taurus. So Saturn again is all about responsibilities and getting serious with Taurus themes. All right. And then on April 12th, we have Jupiter is conjunct Neptune. So Neptune, I mentioned before, is one of the rulers of Pisces, right? And so it is, well, Jupiter and Neptune rule Pisces, right? So when Jupiter is conjunct Neptune, it's like one of its natural rulers. So that's actually kind of complementary. But on the other side of, well, yeah, actually it is just complementary now that I think about it. Oh, it depends. I mean, right, this is general, so it maybe isn't complementary for everyone. But when we talk about Jupiter, what did I say? Travel, religion, politics, education, okay, some of the Jupiter themes, okay, we can be tying in with those Neptune themes of creativity, dream-like kind of feeling, fantasy, poetry, literature, that kind of stuff when it goes into fiction, perhaps, right? And then also, what else was I going to say about Jupiter? It expands everything it touches or gets near, right? So when we're talking about Neptune energy, even though it's one of its natural rulers, it could just make those things feel more intense than normal, right? Even though by the time we get into this astrology note on April 10th, we won't have the 3 planets that we currently have now in Neptune. So maybe it's just like more of this energy coming back for like a day or so around that time period. Okay, but it will be different for everybody. All right, moving forward, on April 14th, we have Mars enters into Pisces. Okay, so Mars, right, is the ruler of Aries, but it can be about leadership qualities. It's the first sign of the zodiac that go gun-ho, like really passionate energy, standing out on your own, but doing something, being the first to do it really fast going forward, right, is like kind of talking about the more positive, favorable aspects of the Mars energy. And then the more shadow side of the Mars energy, we'll be talking about when we think of the god of war, Greek god of war, so fighting, arguing, small annoyances, short fuse, that kind of thing, okay? So when Mars enters, excuse me, when we talk about Mars being like a fire energy, right? Since Aries is a fire sign, it's going to be entering into now a water sign. So as far as hopefully the anger, frustration, short fuse, annoyances side, hopefully when it enters into that Pisces energy of Neptune, it will like cool it down a little bit. But I really feel like this could be a great time for creativity around April 14th because Mars, right, when it's in that leadership role of passion and creativity, and then when it enters into Pisces, it's like double passion and creativity. So I'm going to make a special note for myself, right, to do something creative or even just celebrate other artists or creativity in general on April 14th. Okay, and then going forward, we only have basically 2 more astrology notes here. On April 16th, we have the full moon in Libra. All right, so some of the Libra themes could be about balance and beauty, just to name a few. I want to, in the future, hopefully start doing more like full moon readings or more particular separate videos about each full moon as it comes up. But just right now with my schedule, it hasn't happened since today's the 17th and tomorrow we have, or tonight, depending on when you watch this and stuff, we have the full moon in Virgo coming up. So always heightens the energy during every full moon. So things feel more intense than maybe they normally would. So usually the highest time for the full moon energy is the day before, the day of, and the day after. But of course, it will be different for everybody and different throughout their life, right? In different months, different times, different full moons going on. All right. And then on April 19th, the sun enters into Taurus and will officially be into Taurus season. So that is pretty much the astrology notes for this time. Again, if you want to see the full list of this or even all of the astrology for this whole year for 2022, you can click in the description box below and follow the link there if you want to see the exact times that these things are happening and the exact degree of when they're happening with each sign and planet and all that. So anyway, I'm going to take a little bit of a short break here and then be back with the next set of series of readings. We're going to start with Aries since the reading was really late, and we'll go through the zodiac signs in the normal order. So if you want to join me there, that's great. But if not to, I understand. So anyway, you guys take care, and thank you so much again for all your views and shares and subscriptions. So I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.